Welcome to another episode of Unscripted with Marilyn Morales. Today's episode is brought to you by Izzy's Legacy. We are about to have our second annual fundraising event in beautiful Marlton, New Jersey at an exclusive country club called Little Mills, where we will have, and it's not just a golfing tournament, I call it a golfing experience. I have never been golfing myself, so this is going to be a first for me and for a lot of people that are volunteering for me. But I know that the three things that I talk about every time that Izzy's Legacy gets together is important, and that is faith, fun, and fellowship. And we're going to have plenty of that on October 28th. So mark your calendars and look up at Izzy's Legacy Inc.org for ways that you can help. Well, my next guest is someone that I recently met at another event, and he and I clicked immediately. Our energies were just, it's indescribable. There's no word to say how connected we were. We then had a conversation, and I was like, oh my God, I have to have you on my show because your insights and all the things that you have been through and what you're doing today are so valuable that I want to share that with my audience. So let me introduce you to my next guest. His name is Skyy Royal, and he is a dynamic hip-hop artist, lyricist, and a visionary with a unique journey that blends music, holistic healing, and financial literacy. After a near-fatal car crash left him in a coma, Skyy discovered his passion for writing and making music. That's one part of his story that I'm going to touch on because it is so intriguing to me. Raised by a single mother who served over 22 years in the Air Force, he spent his youth traveling across the United States and internationally, shaping his entrepreneurial spirit. From becoming a certified massage therapist to launching his brand, RoyalKingTouch, Skyy is on a mission to make an impact through his diverse creative talents, and he has many. His sound draws inspiration from both old school and modern artists, combining deep lyrics with a fresh, innovative vibe. Let's welcome Skyy to the show. Hello, my friend.
Oh, hey, hey. That was extremely overwhelming. I'm so sorry. I'm gratefully flustered, but I'm excited.
Skyy, we're having a little trouble hearing you.
Oh, okay. Hold
Okay,
on.
perfect.
Am I better? Can you hear me now?
That's perfect. And listen, this is unscripted, right? Just like life is. So it doesn't matter what happens, but as long as we can hear your message, and that's what's important. Well, I
Yes,
will
absolutely.
tell you, when I met you and you and I had that off conversation and you started telling me about how you came to be this artist, I was so intrigued. I was like, oh my God, you got to be on my show. We got to talk about this because this is
Yeah,
otherworldly. So I do want to get into, right, that episode in your life because I think it was transformative for you. And I'd
right.
love for my audience to hear. So share with me what happened to you.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, this accident happened March 15, 2009. I just came back from living in American Samoa, funny enough. And speaking of Marlton, New Jersey, where you guys are going to have the event, that's where I would consider I'm from because I graduated high school in Cherokee. And so
Wow.
we had just came back to living in Marlton um, as a sophomore in Cherokee High School. I was only back for like 4 months. And as a passenger in a car accident, friend had picked me up like not even 5 miles away from my house. Got hit mid turn in. He decided to make an illegal left turn and the car flipped. I didn't have my seatbelt on, and I was thrown out the vehicle like 30, 45 miles an hour. So I was in a
Wow.
coma for 2 weeks. And it was, I don't remember anything. I don't remember seeing a bright light or anything like that. But from what I was told and seeing the police reports and hearing about the experiences of how much love was giving when I was in the coma, I feel like that was one of the biggest pulls for me coming back. I had a lot of support. It was lines out of the doorway from people that didn't even know who I was. I mean, I was freshly back. Mind you, um, Cherokee was basically contributed of like 8 different middle schools. So it wasn't just the middle school I was at that knew or even probably remembered me. So the fact that it was that so like that much love and support, I feel like again was one of the biggest reasons I was able to come back. And when I came back was where I developed the musical uh, ability to rap and all of that. And it started with freestyling. So I'm grateful.
So tell me something. When you woke up, did you realize when you woke up, like how long after coming out of the coma did you realize that you had an ability that you didn't have before? Or did you have it before and it just was elevated when you came out of the coma?
So if we talking about a spiritual experience, I think it's interesting right now that there's this whole big thing with the multiverse, especially with Marvel and these multi variations of the same individual, right? There's one
Hmm.
individual that's original. I feel as though I was switched out with a version of myself that was a better version of myself that had these abilities, and it was still me. Obviously, I didn't change in an aspect of being different in my demeanor or the way that I articulate things in a level of understanding, but it made those things deeper. And then the musical ability came out of it. So it felt like I came a better version of myself instead of becoming worse off like most people that go into extreme coma head injury like that do. So
Right.
yeah.
So when did you realize that you had this heightened ability though? How long after the coma did you realize something was different about you? You're still the
I
same, but you're better. So when do you realize that, oh my God, there's something different here?
so I'm a stoner and smoking and kicking it with people at parties. When before I tried it, I wasn't good at it, but I was okay at it, and I guess it was there before. Yeah, let's say that it was there before, and it
Let's say
became
it was there.
there before, and then came out better when I came out of the coma because at the parties was when I kind of discovered that I could actually do it. And I was good at it, and I gained confidence from it, and that's what made me wanted to do it more. So it was always a fun thing. That's what it is. It's fun for me. I had so much fun doing it. That's it.
Okay, well, that's different. So
Mhm,
confidence. Let's speak to
mhm.
that, right? Confidence will allow you to do more than you think you could ever do.
Ooh,
So maybe emerging, do you think that there was a level of confidence after realizing how much you were loved and being
mm,
developed in that acceptance that maybe wasn't there before,
mm.
allowed you to take chances that you didn't?
Right.
What do you think
Damn,
about that?
that's a beautiful perspective. Maybe it was a combination of my perspective as well as yours. I think definitely there was a spiritual shift for sure. But I also do think that maybe on a subconscious level, that without knowing that I had that support and then realizing it and then possibly, experiencing it in points that, yeah, maybe that was one of the shifting situations that pushed me towards that. And I definitely could say that at the parties, yeah. When I seen people vibe to it and people was into it, yeah, definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, because there's a difference. I think fear is
Mm,
something that in our lives always keeps us. And I know
mhm.
for myself, I can say that fear kept me from speaking in public. And most of us, nobody likes to publicly speak, right?
Right, right,
But keeps you from taking that chance or doing something that you really want to do because you're afraid of how it's going to be received, how it is going to be interpreted by those around you.
right,
Um, so many different things that we could touch on why we don't do something, and then
right.
something happens to us, right?
Mm,
And it could be something as deep as what happened to you,
mm,
or in my case, it was loss and grief that propel you into either I got to do something in order to manage this deep feeling that I'm having, and to get over it. I have to make a difference in this world. I got to do something because it's in my case not fair that other people are going through the same thing I was,
right,
and I need to give them a couple of tools to navigate that, right?
right.
And not caring anymore about what people care. I don't care anymore because I'm in
Mm,
this place now where
yeah,
I don't care. So that allows me to do things that I never would have done before because I care too much about what people thought, right?
damn. That's it. That's literally it.
So I think you woke up with no fear.
Can I ask
Fearless.
you a question though? And I agree. Do you think that age has something to do with that letting go as well? Do you think for younger people that's a hard thing because um, just how when you're younger you have this mindset of being focused on other people's opinions that don't matter, but as you get older, do you believe that that just kind of dissipates and it's just something you realize, whether it be through some type of trauma or it's just a natural thing that may happen over age? What do you think?
I think for me it was a progression, right? It was coupled with that. I think there are some people that still get to my age, and I'm in my 50s, or older, and still are concerned about what people think, right? And they
Mm,
don't move past that. So
mm,
because they haven't gone through some of the things, not everybody goes through trauma, not everybody goes through these deep things, and not everybody that goes through something is transformed by these things. You can be
yeah.
transformed negatively or positively, right? You can
Yes.
choose to be bitter or better.
Oof.
The
Choices.
choice is yours,
Choices. Girl.
right? So for sure, I always say that life is about choice and decision making, right?
Mm.
It's about the
It's
choices that you make,
right.
and perspective is the second
Mm,
thing. So what
mm,
happens to you? How do you look at that same? You could have looked just like you said the same thing. Other
mhm.
people come out of these accidents, right? Not transformed or worse than when it happened to them. You came
Absolutely.
back better.
Right.
You had the mindset and the perspective of receiving love, receiving this energy, and a feeling that you were at a deeper spiritual level when you came
Mm,
out of it,
mm.
and were better because of it. Not everybody has that perspective when they come out of that. You can come out of that and go, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to me, and oh, poor me,
Yes.
for the rest of your life. And
Yes.
then identify that point in your life when you had that accident, oh, poor me,
Right.
feel sorry for me because this happened to me, right? For me, it's been, I don't want people to feel sorry for me because of what happened to my child. I
Right.
don't want that. Don't feel
Right.
sorry for me. Get
Right.
on this mission wagon with me
With
and
me.
say, let's change this.
Exactly.
You know, it's terrible
Wow.
that this happened, but what can we do to change that so other people don't have to have the same experience, right?
That
Let's
leads
change that. Let's
me
take the information, learn, and go.
that leads me literally into the next situation. So that's not the first accident. There was another one. And both of these accidents happened before the age of 18. The second
Oh,
accident
wow.
happened.
Okay.
Yeah, a week after I graduated high school, July 2nd, 2011. So the first accident was March 15th, 2009. Second one was July 2nd, 2011. I just graduated high school probably June 25th or so, you know. And so the second accident led me into a fractured left arm.
Oh,
This
wow.
is it
Okay.
right there. So this whole arm, this right there is a skin graft, and the entire arm is made out of metal plates and screws, or put together by metal plates and screws. Um, and no coma happened for this one. The way that this happened was I was following my mom back. She had just bought me the car, and 2 years is not long enough to come out of a coma and still be able to have a grasp of what happened. Honestly, I can't even put that in words in perspective. But following her back, I wasn't paying attention for a brief moment. Started going off the side of the road to the right hand side where that portion that wakes you up hits. I panicked,
Yeah.
jerked the wheel to the left hand. I think that wasn't like heavy traffic or there wasn't really any cars behind me or near me. I guess when I swerved and turned the wheel, I pressed on the gas, not paying attention. The car started to swerve. When the car started to swerve, I, last mistake, thought I was going to die, so I took my hands off the wheel, closed my eyes. Next thing I know, just like a movie, I can not put it in any other perspective, but just like a movie. I was upside down next thing I know, and I look around, it's like I'm in fast motion and everybody or everything around me is in slow motion.
Hmm.
And I am seeing all these glass shards everywhere and stuff like that. It just looks like a chaotic mess. I close my eyes, boom, 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 boom. And wildly enough, I land on the wheels of the car. The roof of the car is touching my head. So the car is basically like condensed
Crushed.
with me. Right. And it was a hot summer day in Jersey, Jersey. And as humid as it is, like with the sun beaming, big grass median. I think I was on Parkway, and it took them, it felt like about an hour to get to me. When they finally got to me, oh, let me tell you about even before then, it's on a spiritual experience. When I realized I wasn't dead and the dust settled and I looked down for a quick second. My arm looked like, if I can just get a glimpse of it, looked like somebody placed a miniature bomb in my arm and it exploded from the inside out the way that it looked. And I felt the blood dripping. Thank God it wasn't squirting blood, but it was thick venous blood that was dripping on my pants. And I started to panic and scream. I started to scream at the top of my lungs, fuck, fuck. And this is where it gets angelic. Since I didn't hit anybody and there wasn't really much traffic there, it's wild that it felt like 20 to 30 people walked up to the car and they all said in unison, "Hey, calm down, just breathe." And they all started breathing like, I swear they did it like 5 or 6 times in a row, all of them. And the wildest thing about it all is that if I could think about it, I don't remember any of their faces. I don't even think they had faces, to be honest. Now that I look back at it,
Mm.
but I remember their voices and they all spoke in unison. And that was what kept me from passing out and being aware of the ambulance coming to see me. So now back to the ambulance coming to see me. They drove over the grass median, had to assess the situation and figured out they couldn't just get me out of the car. They told me that had they tried to just grab me out of the car outside of doing all the stuff they had to do, my arm would have fell off. That's the way it was broken,
Oh
shattered.
my Lord.
So first things first, once they figured out how to freak I wish I still had the pictures of this car. It really looked like a steamroller had went over the car once. It really looked like that. The roof was touching my head. The roof is usually here. The roof was touching
Right.
my head. So they put a towel over my face to break in the windshield, to pull the windshield out, to then figure out how they was gonna peel the roof of the car back to be able to lean my seat back to get me lifted out of the car. All of that was a blur. But when they finally got into the car and was able to lean my seat back, they put the whiteboard under me to lift me up onto the stretcher. And that was when I started to feel everything. I didn't feel anything prior to that. It was just chaos and just heat is what I felt. And I remember when I tried to move my arm and I could only feel this. I could only feel that. So
Mm.
when he finally gets me onto the stretcher, this EMT's hand, I got small hands, I got women hands. I grabbed this man's his whole finger was my grip. It was like a baby's grip. I'll never forget that. It was like a baby's grip. And then they get me into the ambulance, and that was the last I remember. When I wake up, my entire arm from uh, well, here all the way down to obviously my wrist was in a
Mhm.
cast. And I was in a hospital for 15 days. Worst 15 days of my life. I lost about 20 pounds. I'm already a smaller guy. I had to sleep with a pillow under my arm because my arm was huge. And for the first week and a half, um, my arm was just literally just in a cast. My bones were floating. So it took them a week just to clean my arm. And they had to clean it 3 times. The first time when they first obviously brought me in, I had nothing but road rash and all types of dirt and debris in my arm because when the car had flipped, it looked like the way that because my mom, I was following her. She said it looked like a movie scene. It looked like something out of a movie scene, the way that the car had spinned and just was all out of control. Looked like somebody wasn't going to survive that, the way she said.
Right.
And every time the car had flipped, my arm dragged across the pavement, and that was why my arm was so shattered like it was. And had I not have gotten to fitness a year or two prior, I would have lost the arm completely. So it took them, like I said, a week and a half to put the arm together. So walking around, when I did get a chance to walk without passing out, yeah, I could feel the arm, my bones just move across each other. It was hell, just to say the least.
Right. Right. Right.
And then they tried to keep me longer than I was supposed to stay because obviously it was a cash grab. And it came to a point where my mom had to literally just say, "Hey, like we're gonna take him out of the hospital," because they kept trying to run tests, they kept trying to do more. We need to study him more. We need to do all of this. And when it was
Mm.
all said and done, I found the day before my 18th birthday, actually. So the next day, uh, since that skin I showed you, that skin was all pink. They had to try to get it to the graft actually stick, and so they put this
Right.
experimental it's like a sponge suction thing that I used to have to carry
Hmm.
around, and it would suck the fluid from my arm, and it would collect, and they'd have to have somebody come and clean it every other
So
week
a
or
wound vac, probably a
wound
wound
vac.
vac.
Yes, a
Yeah.
HVAC. It was like a $1,000 machine that they gave.
Yeah. But that's how they help wounds to heal and stay
Yes,
clean and all,
and it
especially really
helped.
severe wounds.
It was amazing. But yes, that was the most up until this day. I'm 31. That was the most euphoric birthday I've ever had to this date, and I think it'll probably always be that because of what happened. But yeah, that is what led me into
And
massage
you
to
were,
bring full circle.
yeah, because I'm now hearing that story because you and I never talked about that is astounding to me that you can do massage because as taxing as it is for your arms and muscles to be able to provide massage, the fact that you've healed to the level that you've healed is miraculous. It truly is.
But
It
I will
truly
say
is.
this:
So
they didn't they didn't offer me physical therapy for this arm. By the way, once they saw that the metal had took to my arm, that was the last I heard from the doctor, the hospital, any of those people. And yeah, I would say in a way, and talking about a spiritual experience with the music, um, massage has been my physical therapy. It's been my healing aspect for my arm by healing other people. So,
that's amazing. Amazing. So a couple things I want to talk about when it comes to this accident. So the beings that you felt around you that told you to breathe.
mhm.
Um, and so did you lose consciousness after that? Did you at some point realize that these were not actual people, that you felt that they were
No,
from a different realm?
those were the whatever they were is what kept me from passing out because of how much I was
Okay.
panicking and I was going into shock. The breathing is what kept me from going into who knows what could happen in
Breathing.
my yeah.
Right? We talk about breathing all the time. We don't even think about it, but how important is that in order to regulate your body and your anxiety and the stress? Breathing alone. So this is great. What is a tool to get you through something like that? Just breathe.
Mm,
That
just
was a
breathe.
beautiful message. Just breathe
Just
to
breathe.
help you get through whatever you're getting. So for you guys out there, we talk about making sure you have tips and tools. That is one of the biggest ones. Just breathe
Yeah.
to get you through that.
Mm,
Now, your mom, you
mm,
were following your mom when this happened.
mm,
So she
mm,
knew everything that was happening to you, right?
mhm.
Was she present? Did she? So she was, how did
I
mom
didn't get
get through
to
that? Let's talk about mom
I
a
didn't
little
even
bit.
I didn't even get to talk about her situation. So once I landed and I left her part out. Once I landed and she drives a stick. She was driving a bug and then just hopped out the car and started running towards my car and her car started to run. So she had to go back in her car and that was the last I saw from her. And I don't know what she did. I don't know if people grabbed her. I don't know if I don't know what happened, but that's what she had
So you
told
don't
me.
even know. You don't
I
even know
don't
what happened with her after.
No, not after she had told me, like I said, she had just ran out the car and all of that, but that was the last I saw her. So yeah, she just got to witness the whole thing and just kind of see that, like, the way that she talked about it looked like something out of a movie. So it looked like whoever was in that car crash definitely didn't survive or probably wouldn't have survived.
Right. Now that's an interesting perspective, right? You're going through this experience inside the car. You're being
Mhm.
calmed by some unknown persons, right? That you're feeling. Mom's on the outside,
Mhm.
making sure that her baby boy is alive, right? That's a parent's worst nightmare. One of the parents is losing your child and then witnessing it happening in front of your eyes. And what was there and what was actually happening. I think we
Right.
need to talk to mom. I want
Mhm.
to get that story, right? What happened? What did you see? What was your perspective? And how did you stay calm? How did she stay calm
Oof.
in witnessing? That's a whole different. Listen, we got to get Sky's mom on here. All right,
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna go
do.
part two.
We do.
We're gonna
That
get
would be
mom
good.
on here.
That would be a good
Yeah, because we
perspective
got to
to
hear
hear.
that.
I agree.
That's a great perspective because that's something that, as everybody else, we don't know how we're going to respond and react in a situation like that. Mom
Right.
went through it. Love to
Right.
hear how she got through it and how she continues to get through it, right?
Wow.
Because it's not just medication for when you go through something like that. I'm sure there's PTSD involved with that, and every time you think about you getting in a car. Now you drive now, do you not?
I drive a lot of places and pretty much everywhere because I am mobile. I do mobile massage. So yes, a lot.
That's great to hear, guys. He does mobile massage, right?
Highest rated
So it
therapist in the DMV, actually.
Yeah, so if you're interested in a massage from this young man, all right, his
Oh my God.
information is scrolling on the bottom. Ways for you to get in contact with Skyy. Um, I'm about to have one.
Yes. Yes,
So
she needs one. She needs one.
yeah, I need one. I do need one.
Deserves it and
So
deserves
so
it
let's
more
get
so.
so you went into massage therapy as a healing modality, right? And talk to me now about your creative pursuits. You realize that now you have this enhanced ability, or all these experiences have
Right.
led you to have this confidence in you, in your
Right.
body, and what you can do,
Right.
right? That now you're on this other level. So talk to me a little bit about your artistic pursuits now. What are you doing?
Mm.
How can we see what you're doing? What are you involved in?
So, um, how I like I said, I've been doing massage since I was 20. I just turned 31, so it'll be 11 years in December, which I'm grateful for, and I'm so honored, especially feeling like I'm still getting started because I was really bad in massage school. So to be from that to now, I think is definitely impressive and definitely a, a saying for how much I take this seriously. But um, in 2018, I got introduced to the financial industry and kind of fell in love with the concepts of beyond wanting to help my mom, but really help other people understand the value of this stuff, just like understanding the value of their bodies and taking care of it and how important it is for somebody professional to help you through it, right? Um, and being part of one of the top teams in WFG at the time, it inspired me to take a chance on myself the next year with starting the whole Royal King Touch branding, right? Um, and I had the aim of when July had hit, because my birthday's in July, started in January, that I wanted to have 55 star views by July hitting. And by the time that hit, I had 110. Um, and just kept going and pushing through. So obviously the next year was when March 2020 was when COVID hit. And I was
Mhm.
working part time at in Beverly Hills. Funny enough, I wouldn't assume it would have been like that, but working at a massage envy in Beverly Hills, and it was one of the best massage envy jobs I've ever had. And then they was talking about closing everything down. Close everything down. I wasn't able to necessarily sustain out there, but I was able to, since I was already building a branding. When everything shut down, I got a lot of calls. And so for like a good 3, maybe 4 months, I was working with a lot of people with medical issues, people who really appreciated the services and stuff like that, and I got paid pretty well, but just obviously not enough to sustain out and living in California. So, I wanna say in 2020, end of 2021, beginning of 2022, my mom gave me the opportunity to move with her. And that was how I basically came to Maryland and had to figure out how to rebrand and all of that. So it's just been kind of an experience from there. And read what 250 reviews that I came with, and now I'm at 524. And what about 2.5 years?
Wonderful. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. So I'm proud of that. Thank you.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. Yeah, I'm proud of you. So,
Thank
so
you.
how about everything else that you're doing? You mentioned to me
Oh,
before we came on here that you're now going to be acting, and
yeah.
what's in store? What's in the future for Sky?
So, okay, sorry. That led into the music. I've been doing music more so
Mm.
hobby wise for a while because of it just being a fun thing. But obviously, I've always had a talent for it and a thing for it, and I've always been told I should take it seriously. So, financial industry, massage. Then I'm like, you know what? Let me make songs about massage and make songs about finances. And so, around the time when I was building the massage business, um, wildly enough, I was going through a span of homelessness for a while as well during that time. Was when I recorded a bunch of songs. Met somebody on Instagram who we had a solid connection. He had just quit his job. Funny enough, he had just quit his job that July. We met in September, and he taught himself how to mix and master. And I was one of his first people to work with on a serious level, even though he was working with people prior. But on a serious level, I was going to his house every week to record these songs. He now, I think, makes like $700 an hour, doesn't mixing and mastering, actually working with some of the top producers in LA.
Nice. And
Yeah,
taught himself.
taught
Amen.
himself. He
Amen.
quit his as a regional manager, I believe, at like Radio City or Sprint or some crap like that. But from there, I'm like, you know what? Look at her. I'm realized now, if I'm gonna take this seriously, just like these artists and these musicians and stuff like that, celebrities or whatever the case is, they influence us. Whether you want to take responsibility for the influence you have, and that just doesn't mean on a high level of a celebrity impact, but just as a person existing, you have an impact whether you want to or not. And that impact can either impact people to do things towards their benefit or what not to do that will be detrimental towards them. So when you do music, because music is a universal language, that you have a responsibility to make an impact, a positive impact, I would hope, right? So the mindset. It's like I want to create this subgenre of hip hop called entrepreneurial hop. And entrepreneurial hop, the basis of it is to rap about real life stuff. If you are an author, write about being an author. If you are a massage therapist, a barber, esthetician, if you do anything, even work Uber, whatever, even a job, rap about it. Be real about it, right? But beyond that,
Hmm.
talk about self reflectiveness. Talk about how everything is impacted by what you do and how what you do is impacted by the things you see. And like everything is connected. The spiritual aspect of things. I want to bring real energy back to the rap game right now, and I feel like it's missing that. So what the future holds for me is I'm working on 8 projects right now, um, and I want to create enough content for the next 4 years to drop 2 projects a year. Right? I have
Nice.
2 projects already finished, and they're two friends of mine. This goes ties to finances and it ties to massage that passed away last year. Well, almost 2 years now from going to Mexico and getting BBLs. They got meningococcal infections and ended up passing away in the hospital, right?
Mm,
And so it touches on the massage because I've worked with women that get BBLs, and I want to kind of be an advocate towards women making the decision not to take that surgery because of obviously what happened and what could happen. But also,
right. Right.
on the positive tip, they left a legacy behind for their families. They left about $2.2 million collectively for their families. And
Mm,
that's huge because I've up until then I've only heard about people that have left that, but I've never met anybody. So I'm making 2 dedication songs or 2 dedication track, no, projects, sorry, um, that I'll be releasing next year in ode to them and their lives. So that's those first two, a continuation massage project, a continuation financial literacy project, a project about moms, just the love of moms, single moms, and how they deserve to be appreciated more. A project that is going to be with this guy I recently met on Instagram. He calls himself the Dad Rapper, and he does exactly my
mm.
entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial hop idea. He raps about being a dad, and he raps about his daily experiences of loving being a dad, but liking rap, and and he's older, so that's really cool. Project with him, and a few other continuation projects. So I'm definitely stacking tracks right now, and I have 30 tracks recorded since the beginning of the year so far. So I'm off to a pretty good
Wow,
start.
that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So proud of you. And
Thank you.
listen, all these things are amazing. They speak to who you are today, how you continue to give forward and be in the service of others, because everything
Yeah.
you just mentioned is to be in the service of others. So
Yes.
I applaud you for that. That
Thank
instead of making it all about you, you're making it about the collective. And that's
you.
beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
That's very beautiful. So that leads me to the last question that I
Mhm.
always ask my guests, and that is, what is your definition of success?
I love it. I think my definition of success would be being totally fulfilled in every angle of your life and not just being focused on, like, I feel like a lot of people, finances. I feel like we kind of chase money, and in processing of doing so, we lose a lot of solid relationships, a lot of uh, self-reflective moments. We lose a lot of time in ways that we would like to spend it that bring value. And just realizing that as long as you feel fulfilled in everything you do, not just a few things you do, then you're successful, regardless of what anybody says.
That's right. Success is how you feel, right?
Yes.
Not anybody else.
Right.
And that's the message. You can always feel successful. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you,
So
Pat.
excited that we finally got to have this conversation.
Yes. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
listen, and since you're right here in New Jersey, I'm going to be seeing you at the second annual Get Busy for Izzy
You will.
fundraiser. All
You
right,
will. You will. You
and
will.
we'll have people come just to see you, Sky.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm there. I'm there.
Amazing, amazing. All right, well, thank you again, for my viewers. I will see you next time. Bye bye.